Lenovo's Moto E series has had its fair share of ups and downs over the years. Now that Lenovo's launched their new Moto E7 Plus, is this one an upper or just another downer? Let's find out in today's unboxing video. Hey guys, Ash here from C4eTech, and if you do end up liking what you see in this video, please subscribe and turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon. Let's now get started. The E7 Plus comes in this clean blue box with Moto branding to the top and the name of the phone down at the bottom. A few salient features are mentioned to the back, and by the way, this is 464, the color is misty blue. The sticker price, it says 13,000 rupees, but this one is expected to come in at under 10,000 rupees. So let's now open up the box. There's an attached lid, so it opens up like this. The first thing we see is the Moto E7 Plus. Peeling off that plastic, powering it on and keeping it aside for the moment. Underneath the cardboard divider, we have the rest of the box contents. We've got some regular documentation, a SIM ejector pin, a 10-watt charger along with a micro USB cable. Yes, despite all these new looks and all the improvements the E7 Plus packs, it still comes with micro USB. Honestly, towards the fag end of 2020, this is just sad. Anyway, let's now talk about some of the the nicer things. Like, for example, how the E7 Plus feels in hand. It's got a nice heft to it thanks to that 200-gram weight, and a lot of that comes from the 5000 mAh battery that they've included here. Moto has chosen to go plastic, but this is good sturdy plastic, so there's no creaking or wobbling when we try to flex it. This back, it is also a matte finish, so it doesn't pick up fingerprints and smudges quite as easily as the glossy backs that we see on the competition. Now on top of all of this, we still get a gradient finish. We have this square camera bump. That's what we're seeing on a lot of phones in 2020. Samsung started it and everybody seems to be following. And right below that is the fingerprint scanner. This is where we'd usually find a Moto dimple, so there's even a Moto logo on it, and I love the attention to detail. When we tried it out, it worked fast and snappy, just like with the face unlock. Now, coming back to that design for a minute, I have to talk about the button layout here. All three sets are found to the right side. Normally, that would be an issue, but not here. Not on the Moto E7 Plus. First, we have the power button, which is optimally placed. Then right above that, we've got the volume keys, which is also reasonably within reach. And on top, we have a Google Assistant key. Now, generally, this is the point where I say, hey, I have to do some figure gymnastics to get to it. I'm not really happy about it. But this is the Google Assistant key, something that I've generally had the habit of accidentally hitting on other phones. So given that this one's way out, out of the way here, it is actually a positive for me. At least that's how I see it. So you guys tell me, do you like this placement? No? Where else would you have liked to see it? Go on to the comments and let me know. So any which ways, now this key, the Google Assistant key, it has a special feature. If you press it, it activates Google Assistant. It is what it seems. Any which ways, now rounding off the placements, we have a hybrid slot to the left. Yes, you need to choose between a second SIM and micro SD here. That is something weird because on the competition, almost every other phone in this segment, it's got dedicated micro SD support. But then again, to compensate, we've got base 64 gig storage, as in that's the only option, along with 4 gigs of RAM. And then we have the headphone jack right up top, and the mic, a micro USB port and speaker is at the bottom. Coming to the front, this is where we find a 6.5-inch LCD panel. The resolution is HD+, but I can't really blame Moto for this, since 720p panels in the 10,000 rupees segment, they've kind of become the norm over the last 2 years. That being said, I really wish some OEM can find a way to upgrade it to Full HD. Like way back, we had the Redmi 4 Prime, which came with a Full HD chip and Snapdragon 625 under 10K. And now even Redmi have kind of gone up to the HD Plus, have kind of dropped down to the HD Plus resolution, which is why we can't really crib about this one. Now another worry for me is brightness. Now I'd call it average at best. It's definitely better than what we got with the Realme 6. But then that's not saying much, is it? Now, apart from these minor hiccups, there's quite a bit to like about this display. The viewing angles, the color reproduction, they've all been good. Now, the color reproduction most noticeably can be changed from within the settings. Now, if I were to nitpick, I'd say the bezels are quite chunky. I mean, take a look at this chin. But again, for this segment, hey, it's just nitpicking. Now, what we can label as a solid upgrade is with the internals. Moto has moved away from MediaTek and the E7 Plus is powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 460 chip. Motorola claims the performance on the 460 is kind of similar to what we'd get with a Snapdragon 636, and the benchmarks, they seem to back up these claims. Now, the 636 isn't very recent, it is an old chip, but then again, at this price point, it should be a game changer. It should be very, very competent. And remember, most 636 implementations that we've seen in the past, they've come in at higher price points, so they've generally had Full HD Plus displays. So this one is going to be much easier for the 636 equivalent, the 460 to push. That's the theory. Practically, my initial impressions, they do seem bullish. In the time that I spent with this phone, the E7 Plus, it felt smooth, it felt responsive, and that's thanks largely to the stock Android software that it's running on. So the highlight of this E7 Plus, it's not really the hardware, but this stock Android software. There's absolutely nothing new for me to talk about with regards to Android 10, because hey, Android 11 is out, so we've been seeing Android 10. That's been something I've been talking about for a long time, so I'm pretty sure you guys know what Android 10 brings to the table. But what makes the E7 Plus such a joy to use here is the combination of this bone stock Android with selective Moto functionality. Now, all of Moto's functions can be found inside this Moto app, and do note that the Moto app is one of the very few first-party apps on this phone. There is no bloat, there are no ad apps. The features that the Moto apps offers, for example, chop to turn on or turn off the flashlight, pick up to silence a call, flip the phone to put it in D&D mode, etc. We've seen this on a lot of Moto phones in the past, and these are features I've come to enjoy. Now, a lot of phones do come loaded with features, but Motorola makes them so simple and intuitive to use that I'm sure if I do actually end up spending a week with this phone, most of these would become second nature. And that's the same thing I'll tell you guys as well. If you do pick up these phones, these gestures are going to become very natural because they're pretty intuitive. Again, I have a con here. We don't have the twist to open camera. That's something I've generally enjoyed using with Moto phones. So, till Asus decides to come out of a self-imposed exile, there's not going to be serious stock Android competition for Moto. Now guys, Moto is also a Chinese company, and it comes with the regular concerns about privacy and security that we have with Chinese brands these days. But given that it lacks first-party apps and the interface has largely remained untouched, this is one of the more secure Chinese offerings. Now moving on to gaming, we tried out some casual games, and the Adreno 610 chip inside the GPU, it managed to run them fine. Even with heavier titles like Call of Duty Mobile, there were a few frame drops, but the game overall, it remained playable at medium settings. Now, we will test this a lot more before taking a final call. For now, the 460, the E7 Plus, they seem to be a little above average for gaming. I'd say okay for the segment. Powering all of this is a massive 5000 mAh battery, which like I mentioned does contribute to the weight, but this is a 66% increase in capacity compared to the 3000 mAh battery on the E6 Plus. So when we pair it with a 720p display and that power efficient chip, 11 nanometer chip, the battery life on the E7 Plus, I expect it to be excellent. That said, there is no super fast 65 watt charging or 30 watt charging or even 15 watt charging like what Samsung offers. We only get a 10 watt charger in the box along with micro USB. So that disappointment, it still remains. With cameras though, Moto hits right back. They've chosen to go with only two sensors. The primary is a 48 megapixel f1.7. The wide aperture here helps create that background blur, natural looking background blur or bokeh. The sharpness is good and so are the details. What impressed me the most here, it's got to be the colors. They pop, the blue of the skies, the green of the leaves, the dynamic range. It all seems excellent. There is a dedicated night mode included, but for this segment, we can't really expect a lot from it, and as expected, it's average. By the way, the E7 Plus even lets us take raw pictures with the manual mode. And the second sensor, it's a 2 megapixel depth sensor. This is something brands usually use only to make up the numbers, but Moto seems to have put it to good use. Apart from the regular portraits, we can also do this. Using the depth sensor, we can cut people out of images or subjects out of images and change the background. There's another fun feature here on the E7 Plus where we can choose a single color and any of that color in the image remains while the rest goes monochrome. So that's pretty cool. As for the selfies, we've got an 8 megapixel selfie camera. It seems alright, a little bit on the softer side. So even though the E7 Plus, it's gonna go up against triple or quad camera phones, I think the well thought out feature set that it has might actually give it a leg up on its competition. And that is pretty much a reflection of the entire E7 Plus. It's not gonna be the most spec heavy phone in the segment, but the software experience, the cameras, they make it interesting enough. Now the pricing, like I said earlier, I expect it to be priced under 10,000 rupees, and that's what makes this very alluring. Now you guys tell me what you do feel about the E7 Plus. Has Moto done good? Should they have done something different? Whatever you think, leave a comment down below and do let me know. And I guess that's pretty much it for this quick little unboxing and hands-on. Thumbs up, thumbs down based on whatever you felt about it. Subscribe, turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon if you haven't yet. And thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, my name's Ash. You've been watching C4E Tech, and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.